All right, everyone, welcome back to the shop. 11th time's the charm, right? Thanks, YouTube. Nice quality format you got going on there. Uh, it's so stable, so stable. So, quick one tonight. I wanted to show you guys some stuff. I've been waiting on parts for the Miata for a while now, and the difficulty is this is one of the difficult things, and I'm definitely going to email Gates about this because it makes it very hard to score their products. And they have great products. I have a Gates timing belt in that car. My other engine for the Miata, I have a Gates. They're the blue belts. They're Kevlar infused or whatever. They're fantastic timing belts. In the MR6, we have a Gates timing belt. They're awesome belts. Gates makes quality products, so you don't really have to worry about them. Once you install them, they're very good. So I would like to do more Gates products, but with this stuff, they make it very difficult. Who's here? Hey, Liz. I want to show you guys something that I've been using for a few years. Like I said, the problem is scoring it. And I first used this on, I had a motorcycle, Gas EC300, beautiful motorcycle, handmade in Spain. It was a full blast, enduro cross bike. So it was kind of enduro, but it was mostly motocross. 2-stroke, 300cc. It was a badass motorcycle. I wanted to put a digital dash on it for temperature and gas level and speedometer and all that stuff. So I had to do some wiring changes, and I had to, for the coolant temp sensor, I had to cut the coolant line, install the sensor, and then put clamps on it. Let's see who's here. Hey, Joey. I think you know Liz. Yeah. So I had to cut this hose, and because of where the hose was on, like where my leg was, I didn't want clamps there to either rotate around or come loose, and I don't want hot coolant on my leg, whatever. So I looked around at different ways to do this, and I found these things called Gates PowerGrips, and they're really, really awesome hose clamps. They work fantastic. I have them on the SRT4 on the race car. I have them on a couple of different vehicles. I have them on the Viper. And now we're going to have them on the Miata. Now, here's the problem I'll just explain them first. The PowerGrips are basically really heavy duty heat shrink. So I'll pull a couple of these out of here. I have a box there's actually 30 in here. I made the mistake of ordering 3. Whoops. So I ended up with a bunch of boxes. So what they are, they come on these little cardboard rolls. And this one, as you can tell from the name, is the 32915. And that's the size. The part number is the size, and that's the nominal size. So the last 2 digits are the size. So in this case, we have 32915. So 329 and then 15 millimeters is the inside diameter of this. That is the nominal. That's the middle ground. So if you have a hose that's 13 or 17, you're going to be fine. That's where, if your hose diameter is, your outside diameter of your hose is between 13 and 17, you want to use the 15. That's where it works. And they come in a ton of different sizes. They come up to like 5-inch or 6-inch. They come really, really big. So you can get these in a whole bunch of different sizes. The problem is they're usually individual. Hey, Alex. We're talking about PowerGrips. I don't know if you know what these things are, if you've seen these before. You can tell, I'll just put it on my pinky so you guys can see how thick that thing is. So in comparison, let me find something to compare it to thickness-wise that kind of everyone has. I don't know. Okay. There you go. Straw it's a little bit thinner than the straw from a WD-40 can. It's about the same thickness. So there you go. If you don't have a can of WD-40 in your shop, you're probably not watching this. So it's about the thickness of a spray can straw. and they shrink down and they never come loose. So these things also grip 360 degrees around, where with a hose clamp, you usually have a pinch point where it's not gripping as hard as it is the rest of the stuff. There are other clamps out there that do grip very well in 360 degrees and they over clamp. Spring clamps work pretty good too because they're usually over clamping, so you get a good 360 on it. But I'll show you with spring clamps the problem. Usually there's a cut on the back of your hand or there's a cut on the front of your hand where the spring clip has ripped you open because you're working in the engine bay and it's carved up your hand. These cannot carve up your hand. As much as I scratch this on my hand, I can't cut it. So these things are very heavy duty. They come on these little cardboard rolls, and all you do is you just press the cardboard until it folds and then pull the cardboard out and slip it on the tube. Now, the only thing that's kind of annoying is all the printing on it. Now, they have to do the printing, obviously, for, you know, inventory control and sizing and all of that. But, and they have it on here. It says shrink range 1/2 inch to 11/16. So it's funny, they have it in inch, but all of their measurements, all of their part numbers work off of millimeters. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, and Joe, you're correct. These are a one and done. So usually you're going to use them on lines where you're not going to take stuff off. Like with the Miata, we're going to use them on the power steering lines because those are lines that you don't take on and off all the time. If you're doing like an air intake, yeah, use a hose clamp because you're going to be taking it on and off all the time. If one of your boost lines, you're, you know, constantly taking it on and off, or like an intercooler line, maybe use just a regular hose clamp or a turbo clamp. But you can also use these. These are really, really good. They grip really, really well. But if you do need to take it off, you either razor blade. They make a special tool that actually goes underneath this and razor blades up. But you can cut it with wire cutters. I don't think we're allowed to call them dikes anymore. You can cut it with a razor blade if you want. If you know you're going to kill the hose, yeah, you can cut it with a razor blade from the top. So that's the, I guess, if you want to call it the downside, is that they're one and done. But they do grip. They're very cheap. They're about the same price as a hose clamp, maybe a little bit more expensive. Now you can look around, like I think they're about $1.50 for, you know, maybe $1 for these little guys. So it's not terribly expensive, but it also helps with peace of mind. At least for me, it helps me with peace of mind. I know that that thing's not coming loose. No matter how much I vibrate the car, no matter how hot it gets, like these things work off heat, so they're actually going to clamp better when they get hotter. And they don't get loose when they get cold. They go down to a size and then they stay there. And then if they get cold, they don't move. But if they get hot, they can clamp down more. So they stay put. And I had one, you know, the set on my motorcycle for a couple of years, and I never had a single leak, never had a single issue with them. So like I said, the downside is all the printing on there. So if you want to leave that on there, you can. It doesn't really faze me at all, or it doesn't faze most people. It does faze me. So what you can do is, and I'll do it on this one just because I have it, but I've already done it on one of them. You can take all the printing off, and it's very simple to do. I'll show you guys how to do that. And then I'm going to do just a demo on, I'll explain the difficult part with gates. Since I don't have all the hoses, I'm going to do it on where did it go? An extra piece of hose. I'm going to put one on just to show you guys how this works and how well this clamps. I'm going to use this with one of the other, some extra Miata parts. But I'll show you how to take this labeling off. It's very easy. Give me a second here. The one thing I didn't prep for, isopropyl alcohol. You can get this at CVS or Walmart or whatever. Get a spray bottle top. It's really handy around the shop. Onto the paper towel, just a couple of shots. And then you use the paper towel and slowly but surely you wipe away the labeling. Takes a little bit of elbow grease, but There's no magic card trick or anything here. Anyway, it's not perfectly shiny. The problem is the white paint actually leaves a little residue, so you might have to do a second pass. We still call them, okay. I just want to, people get so pissed off so quickly, no matter which way you go. Apparently everything is racist. So I'm being careful. I don't want to inadvertently upset someone. So here you go. All of the labeling is off of that guy now. Oh, most of it is. There's still some white left. But you can take the labeling off. It's pretty easy. And then to get these off, these guys are really tough when they're a small diameter like this. That cardboard is super, it's actually unnecessarily thick. You can crush it, or you can just use a pair of needle nose pliers and crush it on one side, get in there, and then crush it on the other. Get your pliers in a little deeper, and then just spin the cardboard out, and you have your hose clamp. So it's a little bit more work, but you know what? I'm not getting my hand cut up. So I'll use this guy, and I'll show you how to do it, how to get them attached. So hang on a second. Where's my... Actually, well, I'll just do new. See, I have these nicely marked off where, hey, don't use this. So I have to unmark it and that tape's really tough. So I have to cut that tape off. Okay. Again, I didn't prepare this very well. So this is our hose that goes on. This is our return line for our power steering reservoir on the Miata. And I know this looks silly, but lube it up, slide it on. This hose is really tight because it's not the right size. Actually, with this hose, I probably wouldn't even need a clamp. The return line is very low pressure. With a hose this tight, I probably wouldn't need a hose clamp. Also, if you are struggling like this, you can use the heat gun. Since you're already gonna have it out for the hose clamp, you can use the heat gun to help you expand this a little bit and slide it back on. This guy's on far enough, just for showing you guys how to do this. It's like heat shrink tubing, so make sure they're both on. If you're doing two ends, make sure they're both on before you heat things up, because otherwise you got to cut it off and put it back on. So I know this is really hard to see black on black, but there's the bead. You guys can see that indentation right there. And we're just going to put it at the center of the bead, maybe touch in front of it. And then we heat this up. And you just heat it up like, whew, hang on. Got to be careful. Get my Rockstar out of the way. I don't want to have the heat gun take the Rockstar out. So you guys can see there's still a little space up here. And there's still a little space on this end. That's about to go away. It doesn't take much. Set your heat gun 300 or 400. Hopefully this isn't too loud for you guys. I'll set it at 500. And what you really want to do is make sure you get it all the way around. If you don't get it all the way around, it's okay. It's going to it's probably going to reach and it's probably going to clamp, but I'll show you a trick on how to get it all the way around, stuff like this. This is such a nice finish, especially on black tubing. It looks really nice. So it just takes a minute. Trying to get in there to get that underside. Okay. Get it from here, maybe. Doesn't take much. It takes a minute or so to get it clamped down. Let that thing cool off for a second. Put my feet out. There you go. That thing is, you can see how much it clamped down too. And hey, he's warm. So there you go. That hose is now clamped. He's not coming off of there. And you don't have anything digging into your hand. Like, I'll show you guys what we're replacing. I'll show you the hose clamps that are the problem. Let me grab one of these guys. If I can't get to them, I honestly can't get to them because I have the intake in the way. So anyway, I think you guys know the razor sharp spring clamps that I'm talking about. They go all the way back and they have very sharp edges. They're just stamped steel. It's just spring steel that's been stamped. And they have a very sharp edge on the double side, if you want to call it that. And they're notorious for cutting your hands, cutting your gloves, cutting your clothes, all of that stuff. They're very sharp. They're razor, they're stamped out. They're just razor sharp. This is not razor sharp. So while that feels nice and warm, it can't cut my hand. It can't cut my fingers. It can't cut my clothes. It actually works really well. And it's not going to move. It's never going to get loose. It's not going to vibrate loose, sorry. That's better. The other trick, if you want to, you can take an old can, just an aluminum can, cut the top and bottom off, and this works. I don't really need it this wide. You can just use scissors to cut this stuff. And please be really, really careful when you're doing this. Hold it from the faces. Don't hold it from the edges. These are razor sharp once you cut them. And I'm going to try not to cut myself. You can use gloves. You can do this. And this guy, if you have this, you can have this guy come in from one side or the other, and that will help you send heat in 360 degrees. If you have a backside that you can't reach because you have wires or whatever in the way, or like if you want to protect wires on this backside, you can do that, or fuel lines or whatever. And then you just aim the heat gun on the top and bottom sides. So you aim the heat gun up here or down here, and it'll send that heat 360 degrees all the way around. You can touch it if you really want, but you can barely touch it. Super easy way to do it. That's an easy way to get heat 360 degrees around. You probably have an aluminum can around. So, put this on the bench and then hold this in place with your heat gun. Easy way to do it. You get 360 degrees. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's totally recyclable, just like these guys are. So that's that. Those are the Gates PowerGrips. Now, here's the downside. Here's the part that none of us like. Anybody who uses these knows that this is the worst part about the Gates PowerGrip clamps. See, when they're this small, they're really hard to get out of here. And I believe 15 is the smallest that they go. They might have a 10. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a chart out there. Gates has a chart that has all of the sizes in inch and metric. So yeah, you just use a pair of needle nose and pop this out. And now we have our clamp. Goes on the other side. He goes down to the power steering line, and then we just do him tight. Now we have a super clean look on both ends. Great. Okay, so here's the difficult part. Ordering. Normally these come individually. So this set I got was actually supposed to be a 3-pack, but they sent me 10. I don't know how that worked. And it was $8. So I was expecting, you know, $1.50 each and shipping and all that. And it turned out to be a lot more. So that's an anomaly though. They're about $1, $1.50 each. And then the larger sizes, you know, be $3 or $4. I'm sure they get more expensive once you get into the 4-inch guys. But they do not offer a like starter pack. So you would have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different sizes and kind of common sizes, you know, like 5 15s, 5 25s, 3 35s, and then 2 41s. And then, you know, you would have like a little box like you get with like nuts and bolts or cotter pins or whatever. You would have a box that had kind of a variety pack. And then when you run out, yeah, then you reorder individual, but you would at least have a pack. As far as I know, these are all literally sold individually. Gates needs to do a variety pack, like a small and a large. So if someone is doing just intakes, they come in the, you know, the 4-inch, the 3-inch, the 2, whatever, and you have a 10-pack of those. You also need a small pack, you know, the 15, the 25s, whatever, so that you can do not only this hose, but you can also do this hose. You can do PCV hoses, that sort of thing. I'm going to use this for one of the PCV hoses on the Miata because getting that 90-degree elbow thing. Since I have spares, I'm just going to use that until I can order a new one. That'll work just fine. But the problem is getting these. So for the ones that I wanted to do on the Miata, these guys I got off Amazon. The ones for the 25s, I also got off Amazon, but they were individual. So I had ordered 2. It was a separate order. And then the ones, I'm going to do 2 radiator ones for the upper radiator hose. I had to go to eBay to get those. No one on Amazon offered them. So, and also they're not in any parts stores. Trust me, if they were in a parts store, I would be at Napa, I would be at AutoZone, wherever, and I would buy, you know, a little pack. I'd make my own little variety pack. But no parts stores carries these. As far as I know, you can only get them online. I've never seen them at any store. I haven't seen them. Jegs has them. You can order them from Jegs. They do not have them in stock. They're drop shipped from Gates. So that's the difficulty with them. The rest of it is all upside. They'll last for years and years. They have an incredible heat and cold range. I want to say to like 40 below. So, I mean, if you're driving your Miata and 40 below, you're going to have a lot of other stuff fail before you have hose clamps fail. So that's the downside is ordering them. That's how it goes. So what I am going to do is I'm going to send an email to Gates letting them know that I really enjoy their product. I'll send them a link to this and they can see, you know, that it works, and I'm trying to, you know, get it out there to people and let them know that if they want to sell more of these, do a variety pack that people can buy on Amazon, or you know what, screw it, just buy it straight from Gates. If they can do this pack, it would really help other shops, because that's what shops are doing, is they're going to the parts area and they're like, all right, well, I need, you know, 4 M8 by 150 socket head cap screws, and that's what they pick out. I don't want to have to go to a store. I don't want to have to go onto Amazon and order individual screws, and that's what I'm doing right now with these. And I don't want to do that. So yeah, I don't want to use a trash can as my bench either, but that's why I put this together in about 6 seconds tonight. So give me a break. And I didn't want to do it on the hood of the Miata. It's too nice. So that's the downside is having to order all of those individually, but you don't have leftovers, I guess. If you're doing a project car, you don't have extras, but usually when you're doing a project car, you want to have extras. When you're doing a race car, you absolutely want extras. So doing stuff for like the MR6 or the Monza, the new stuff, we're going to want extras. That's why I think the variety pack would be a much better deal for shops. You wouldn't have to order those individually. And so that's going to be my suggestion to Gates. We'll see what they do with it. They can tell me to screw off, but I'm at least going to do my part and send them an email saying, hey, you guys, I really like this stuff. It's worked really well for years. I'm telling people how great it is. Maybe you guys help us out. And, maybe other people, if Gates doesn't want to do it, I'm sure there's a company out there that does. Gates is a great company. I've known Gates for an incredibly long, since I've been working on cars. And it's funny, on my drive to work a long time ago, I used to live in Denver, and I would drive past the Gates. Gates is based in Denver. I would drive past their factory every single day on my way to work when I was in the television and film industry. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. I didn't know what they did when I was doing that, but I was like, wow, that's a huge factory. But yeah, they were right on Broadway. Was it Broadway or Lincoln? I think it was Broadway. Anyway, great company. They do a quality product, but getting it out to the masses, I think they need some help with. So, and I wouldn't say it's new, but it's definitely cooler technology than hose clamps or spring clamps or band clamps and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a little resistive for people to use. Plus, since it's a one-time use thing, you can't unscrew it, take it off, put it back on. I think people are a little hesitant with that, but for me, the reliability is worth that. It's very easy for me to, cut that off, slide a new one on, heat it up, call it done. The peace of mind you get versus worrying, is that hose clamp coming loose? Is that hose clamp tearing into the hose? You have a lot of metal clamps that will clamp so tight, they'll actually tear into the hose and cause a leak. This will not, that's not causing a leak. So you get a few added bonuses with that. Hopefully Gates picks up on it. I will keep you guys up to date. Who else? What do we got here? Might have to look into him. Yeah, Joey, I think you like him. Audio and video are good. Cool, thank you. Yeah, hopefully you guys like this stuff. I'll keep bringing you, fun stuff and interesting stuff. But if you want to, if you look on the race car on the SRT4, there are no hose clamps on that car except for the intake pipe, which you take off to access a bunch of transmission stuff and all that. So those are the only two hose clamps that I have on the SRT4. Everything else has the Gates PowerGrips because it works. And it was funny when I popped the hood for Ralph Shields, he was like, that's weird, there's no hose clamps in here. And I was like, yeah, I'm using all this stuff. He thought they were cool. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys updated on Gates, and if they send me anything back, I'll bring it out to you guys. But that's a fun one for tonight. So I have these, and then the 25s, which are for the fill hose. Those will be here those will be here on Saturday, so we can finally finish up the hoses on the Miata. We can run and drive the Miata this weekend. And then, the ones for the radiator hose probably won't be here till Monday. So I'm not going to, since everything's drained out of that upper radiator hose, I'm just going to leave it for now. And then when the clamps come, I'll put the clamps on, and then the Miata will be back in action. So we're going to do PowerGrips on the top side of the Miata. We'll just keep it going. And if anyone's looking for some 15s, like I said, they sent me some extras. So if anyone needs some, let me know. I've got some here. Berg might be coming down this weekend, so we might put some on his Focus. And that way you get it on a different vehicle and different kinds of driving, because that's his daily. So we'll get some daily driver in there too. It doesn't always have to be a show car or anything like that. So give them a try. Try them out on something like a power steering line or something on your car, and let me know what you think. I'm curious. So yeah, I appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. My apologies, it was so late. Getting the trash can, and I had to move the motorcycles out of the way to get the trash can here. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. And if there's something else you want to see, something else that I've done either to the Miata or the Viper or the motorcycles, let me know. I'm glad to focus on something and show you the cool stuff that I do. I think that's about it. We got a lot done on the MR6 the last couple of days. The guys have been kicking ass in the shop in Ohio. So that race car is, we have new big brakes in the rear. We're going to have a very flat car through the turns. It's going to be a really awesome race car. And the Monza will be showing up this weekend, which is great too. So I'll be back in Ohio, and we'll do a ton of live streaming from Ohio with both of the race cars, both the MR6 and the Monza. So, and the other thing I wanted to do is re-extend that invite to everyone for the Lemons race. It is April 12th and 13th. It is at Pit Race in just north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you want to attend, I will cover your spectator badge for the whole weekend. So just contact me through YouTube, or if you have my number, text me, whatever. Excuse me, I'm burping. Shoot me a message. Let me know you're coming. I'll get you a spectator badge, and you're covered for the weekend. I do that to help encourage people to get into racing, and it's not very expensive, but hopefully it gets people to the track, and they see all the crazy stuff that we do at the track and how much fun we have at the track, and they want to get into it as well. So I'm going to extend that offer once again. This is what, 4th or 5th time I've done that, and people have taken me up on it, and I'm so happy that they do. They come back and they're like, yeah, that was so much fun. I've never done anything like it before. It was cool. It gives you complete access. It gives you access to everything except inside the race car and the pit lane. But otherwise, you get the paddock, the parking areas, all of that stuff. You can go talk to the teams, all of that. So it's a lot of fun at the track. It's the people at Lemons are very, very, very cool, very approachable. You'll like them, I promise. And you see some of the craziest builds there. Yeah, I've never seen so many eBay turbo kits in my life. It's pretty funny. People are super cool. The food's incredible. It's a lot of fun. So definitely, I would love for you to join us. Just shoot me a message or a text or whatever. I'll cover you for the weekend. And I think that's about it. I'll keep you guys updated. We're going to be doing some more live streaming. We've got, like I said, Berg is probably coming down this weekend. We'll do some stuff on his Focus. We're going to do more stuff on the Miata, and probably do some finishing on the Miata hardtop so we can get that thing ready to fully park for the summer. And maybe we'll do some Viper stuff too. I haven't really decided yet. But I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight and staying up so late with me. When I get the rest of the PowerGrips, we'll do that. I'll show you guys up close how I get in there and get those clamped on. I'll show you the power steering lines and the radiator lines, so you can see actually how to do it. I just wanted to showcase these tonight, and hopefully maybe I'll have an update from Gates by the time we do that. That would be cool. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Don't forget to show someone that you love them. Give them a kiss on the cheek. Give them a kiss on the tip of their nose. Hold their hand. Give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I will catch you. We'll catch you this weekend. All right, everyone. Have a great night.